Hi, welcome to Dudley's Range Rogues. And we're going to talk today about the MP40. Of course, we're going to shoot it quite a bit, which is why I'm happy to be out here. But before we do all that, we really need you to like and subscribe to this video and our channel. And you're not going to want to miss the next video. It's going to be on the Thompson. And then we're going to compare the MP40 and the Thompson and have a little machine gun duel from World War II. So make sure you're subscribed. Some people think my job as a gun lobbyist is just wearing suits at the Capitol and shuffling paper. Well, not so much. All right, well, I wanted to get a take on the MP40 from someone who's shot a lot of machine guns. My friend Eric at IraqVeteran8888. He's a YouTube icon, and so he was happy enough to invite us down here. And you haven't shot this too much except today.
Right.
And you've been pretty good with that too.
You really had to twist my arm to get me to do this video. I mean, it's not every day that I have to, coerce somebody into coming down and bringing machine guns for me to shoot. I mean, that, it's a unique opportunity. So I do like the MP40, and my exposure to this particular subgun has been a little bit limited until today. Yep. And so you're right, I haven't shot it a ton until now, but I can say that it's very controllable. I was very surprised at the lightweight and the light handling characteristics of the MP40. I do like the folding stock. That makes life a lot easier for transport. So in terms of the military purposes that this gun was originally made for and the type of void that it's meant to fill in a military environment, I think it certainly hits all those high marks in every way that it possibly can. It's accurate, it's controllable, it's fairly reliable. We haven't had too many issues out of it. Now granted, she's old, but this is a cool gun design, and in 9mm, absolutely no recoil. It's got a lot going for it. Also, it's worth noting earlier, I let my wife shoot the Thompson and the MP40, and we wound up determining that, someone of smaller, shorter stature can certainly run one of these a little bit, more reliably. It's less recoil.
A lot easier.
So a wider variety of different troops could utilize a gun like this. I like it. It's really cool. It's a great piece of hardware. I'd love to shoot it again.
Okay, well, we'll leave the comparison and discussion of that for a later time. But for now, why don't you just shoot some stuff up with that thing, see what you like, all right?
You got it. All right, we're gonna run the MP40 here a little bit. Let's have some fun. Oh, had a little failure to feed there. It's okay, we'll give her a mulligan. She's old. All right. Singles, single, double, triple, triple, triple. Not bad. So very easy to control the rate of fire. Not a super fast cycling gun. So it allows you to keep it on target easily. You can transition quickly and easily. And with a little bit of practice, you can totally get behind this thing and make single shots accurately. Pretty cool stuff.
This is the MP40, which is the German submachine gun of World War II and fielded by the Third Reich Army. Its grandpappy was the MP38, and that gun was mostly milled and machined parts, kind of like the MG34 light machine gun. It was made of very, very expensive and time-consuming materials, kind of rare materials to make, so it was more expensive. Like the move they made with their light machine gun, the MG42, they improved upon the design with the MP40 and made it out of mostly stamped parts, or as many as they could. Now, this gun was often called the Schmeiser, but that's not very accurate. Schmeiser was the man who designed the MP18, which is the great-grandpappy of this gun. Actually, Henrik Vollmer is the one who created this gun, designed it, and therefore it could probably more accurately be called a Vollmer. Now initially it was made for mechanized troops, people in half-tracks, tanks, things like that. But later they expanded it to cover things like squad leaders, platoon leaders, paratroopers, where the compact design was useful. See, the Germans learned a lesson in Stalingrad when huge numbers of Soviet soldiers were attacking with PPSH-41s, which we'll have a video on later. That's all they had was these submachine guns in small calibers running forward and charging, and the Germans had these as well as bolt-action Kar 98Ks. Not a really good thing to do when you're fighting in Stalingrad. Bolt-action rifles aren't a great idea. You really needed automatic weapons. In World War II, it was estimated the Germans made more than 1.1 million MP40s. That's a lot of submachine guns. So this weapon is an open bolt, blowback operated, full auto only gun. You can actually make single shots, semi-automatic shots with it by controlling the trigger because it's got a pretty slow rate of fire. But you have to be intentional about that. It uses a pneumatic recoil buffer. The worst part is it uses a double stack single feed magazine, which is really honestly one of its shortcomings. That means there's a lot of friction on the rounds and the magazine as it feeds into the weapon, which can induce some failures and jams and things like that. So open bolt design guns have the bolt locked back until you pull the trigger, and then it lets go of the bolt. It has to travel a few inches forward so that it fires the gun. That could make it a little bit less accurate, but this gun isn't really designed for ultimate accuracy. It's designed for quick, speedy firing. Now the folding stock was supposed to be kind of a problem because it may not have been as durable as they needed for combat, but it sure was easy to manipulate, bring back, and fire from the shoulder. It was the first of its type, and in that manner it was kind of a space gun. As you can see, this plastic here is called Bakelite and was an early form of plastics, also called Margolit, and it's weird, but it was the first of its type. And as you can see from this magazine well, which doesn't have any ribs, that pretty much indicates this was an early model of the MP40. Later models had ribs to them to increase strength. Now the magazine right here was frankly a weak point, as you can see, and the magazine well was one of the areas in which you grip the gun. Now this little nut here covers the end of the crown of the barrel. Again, I question whether that was that useful, but it was a screw on. They also removed some of these items, like this little notch in right here that had a shroud that would cover the end of the barrel. This protector right here protected the barrel if you were leaning it and resting it on an armored vehicle's edge. Also stopped it from falling backward as the recoil pushed you back, made the muzzle fall below, and of course shot the side of the armored vehicle. Not a good idea. So this is how you disassemble the gun. It's actually relatively easy. You pull the magazine out. Of course, you're checking to make sure nothing's inside. And there, of course, there's nothing inside. And then just pull this little plunger out and rotate it a little bit. And then rotate the body as you pull the trigger. It releases and comes apart. The weird part is, that's it. Here's the bolt, here's that pneumatic buffer, there's the firing pin. That's everything. It's a pretty simple gun. And then lock the plunger in. Cocking the weapon and locking that back in that notch. Again, this was an early design of the MP40. Later, they actually had a locking knob that attaches to the bolt, and it could lock in two different positions, up high or down here with it closed. Well, we've talked about the details of the gun and some of the history. Now let's go out to the range and light some targets up.
Now that we've got out of the studio and out here at the range, gone over the details, and now we need to shoot it. But I'm going to shoot it and talk a little bit about it while I'm shooting it, because there are some things about this gun that are, I hate to admit it, less than be desired, and I don't want to admit this. Hopefully Travis the Viking won't see this. What I wanted to do is shoot a couple of steel targets. So we got 3 good-sized steel targets, one at about 25, 20 yards, and another one at about 35 yards, and another one at maybe 60. They're torso size, so they're good size. They're really kind of testing the limits of the gun and engaging a human target closer than like in a trench where they're 10 feet apart. Okay, that's one thing. So this gun, of course, I'm a lefty, but I'll just switch around to right-handed so it's a little easier to film right here, and that's what most people are, so it gives you an idea. The bolt here is on the left side, so it's easy for a right-hander to manipulate with his support hand. And you want to grab it at the magazine well, not on the magazine. Apparently they got a lot of malfunctions. I've not experienced them yet with the magazine. I've experienced a lot of magazine malfunctions with this gun, but not that particular one. The other option, which I'll try, is to hold it from the stock like this. Feels really bad to me, but we're gonna see if that works. So, as you can see, it's locked back, which is how you'd carry it when you weren't expecting to fire. And then you unlock it, and of course it's an open bolt gun, so it's kind of, it looks like it's not in battery. Of course it's not. So the close range target is real easy, and you can almost not tell it's hitting because it's 9mm. Don't tell Travis the Viking that I'm making fun of 9mm, because I am. But there's the medium range target, a little easy, but you can hear it. And there's the 60 round, 60 yard target. Now, if you really think, how are they going to shoot that though? Are they really going to be shooting it from the shoulder all the time? Certainly not the closer one. Then it's just quick from the hip. When it's empty, what does it do? It locks forward. The bolt goes forward, and it doesn't have any recoil to push it back. It's recoil operated, so it stays forward. I rarely have malfunctions that aren't magazine induced with this gun. Now to reload another mag. Yeah, I could do that. Well, one of the features of this submachine gun that nobody else in World War II really figured out was this little catch right here. It's actually, this one's metal, but sometimes they were Bakelite, the kind of plastic we have here on the grips. But what they were designed to do was to go over the lip of an armored vehicle. In this case, we're just going to simulate it with our turret top. And it was able to catch the weapon and the barrel itself so that it didn't slide as recoil was pushing you backward. It didn't slide and drop the barrel down inside of the armored vehicle. As you can imagine, if you shoot with your muzzle on the wrong side of an armored vehicle, guess what? You're getting a body full of splatter for everybody in the vehicle. And who knows, bad things happen. So the idea was you hooked it over here and went bang, 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 bang. And so what I'm gonna do is simulate that, and I'm gonna do it right-handed, which means I'll feel a little bit awkward. I'm not very good right-handed with a subgun or rifle, but here we go. And we'll see if it moves much. Sure seemed to work to me. Yeah, that's why I like this gun. It's compact. Now I know that wasn't terribly fast. This is not a big tank, but this is what they were used for. Armored vehicles, mechanized vehicles, and for what it was designed for, sorry, this is the best. We're gonna test that theory though in a future video. So stand by, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you're following what we're doing, and make sure you watch our video on the Thompson coming up soon.